Okay, this page is kind of cool, the limits page. What this does is it takes every system in the airplane that I could think of, N1, N2, engine pressure ratio, fuel flow, torque, RPM, power, manifold pressure, ITT, EGT, everything I could think of. And it gives you the low end red line, if there is one, the green arc range, if there is one, and the high end red line, and a little checkbox to indicate if there's a yellow arc between these two. So for example, here in the Cessna 172, it looks like our cylinder head temperature has a low end red line of 0, a low end green arc of 200 degrees, a high end arc of 400 degrees, top of the green, red line is at 500, and we don't bother to draw yellow arcs. Now, these instrument indications will only be drawn in the default X-plane two-dimensional cockpits. Of course, if you're a 3D artist, or you had an artist to build a nice big fancy 3D cockpit like we have for all the X-plane aircraft, then these arc ranges really mean nothing at all, because this is only to be available to draw the arc on the instrument gauges in the default two-dimensional instruments. So why do we have such a big screen if these data aren't even used? And here is the answer. We absolutely do use a checkbox for gallons per hour versus pounds per hour, torque and percent versus torque and RPM, power and power versus power and percent. We use these checkboxes to decide what units to present data in the data output screen. So these checkboxes do matter when you go to data output. Furthermore, the data that you enter here in the maximum, this is absolutely used by the flight model. When you are at full throttle, at sea level, on a standard day, your maximum manifold pressure should be 29.9 inches. Your ITT, if you have this in the airplane, should be 680. Your EGT should be 1250. That ITT really should be Celsius if it was 680. The CHT in the, I think this is, let's see, maximum power output, probably the best angle of climb speed or something like that. The CHT will go to 500 degrees. Inverter and rotors temps are set to the minimum just 1 because this is for electric motors. But enter this stuff here, the so-called maximum properly, because this is what's going to drive the temperatures in X-plane. So don't get confused. All the red line, yellow, green arc, yellow and red line, that's for engine instruments that you won't even see if you build a proper 3D cockpit. The checkboxes are used by data output, and the maximum values here at left do drive the flight model. Popping over to the next page, and as you see, a whole bunch of data on the left that you do need to enter properly to get the right flight model indications. And this stuff sure matters. Here we go, electric fuel pump pressure. This is the pressure you'll actually see from the fuel pump and the fuel pump pressure gauge, and the max output of each engine-driven generator. That absolutely matters. How many amps do you get from your generator? And your gyro and spool up and spool down time. That matters too if you have a gyro failure. So you do want to enter all this stuff correctly, but the arc markings really aren't going to actually do anything in the sim if you build a proper 3D model.